Cause sandwiches are ready, forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up weekdays. Just rob somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Marvelous Monday to all you guys. I really do appreciate you guys for being up with me at 9 o'clock in the morning right now. I'm telling you, we had a very late night last night, conversating and talking about the world and all the things and all the craziness that's going on that we've been chopping up about this whole thing, AstroWorld. Honestly, I'm really surprised I'm awake right now too. Let me just be straight funky, because even after we got done with the show last night, when we got done with our epic conversation, shout out to all the people who came in to be a panelist last night. I really do appreciate it. I was still up. I still had a whole bunch of other stuff I had to do. I still had work to do. I had work to do, baby. So I didn't go to bed until very, very late last night. But I'm up. I'm here. I'm with you guys because, hey, because I care. That should be a commercial, right? Right? Shouldn't that be a commercial? Somebody give me a number one if you agree. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Don't do that. But you could do this other thing for me, though. You could do this solid for me. You could hit that like button down below or send those likes all the way up. I would really appreciate it, of course. And then, yes, hit that subscribe button, crush it, nuke it, destroy it, make it scream your mother-loving name. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just Pascal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever your name is. Your name is obviously not Pascal. If your name is Pascal, shout out to all the Pascals out here in the world, okay? Okay? So, see, this is why coffee is very important today, because I am awake, okay? Anyway, I thought I'd be so dead tired, but I am, like, internally, all the way inside in the core, all the way past the skin and the bones and the muscles, right? But this coffee is making me feel lit today. And there's so many different stories that we got to cover today because this past weekend, there were so many different things that went down. Trust me, you do not want to miss this show. So many different things are going on, and we have to cover a lot of them today, okay? So, before we jump into all of that, my boy, David, is in the house. What's up, man?
Hey, man, not much. Everything's going good here. It's got a long drive after this probably because for those who remember, I was trying to wait at Best Buy last week to get a video card, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. But since I keep showing up every week and asking them if they have one, even though they're not shipping any out, I think I got on their nerves. So they hooked me up with like one of the guys in the warehouse in Denver that has one left over. I don't know if he's actually going to hold it for me. They say he is. I don't believe it though, but I'm going to drive down there in the hopes that I actually get it today. So we'll see.
You know what? Fingers crossed for you, man. Fingers are crossed for you. Okay. Because I know you've been on that hunt for a minute there. Like, dang, man, why is it so dang hard? Why?
Just aren't any anywhere. It's they're mostly doing it up to bit mining due to Ethereum is the main one, but China cracked down on it, so hopefully that makes the cards more available. But we'll see. Plus, China and Taiwan make most of our chips, and they're might be on the edge of war, so we don't know. Either way, it's hopefully the shortage ends soon because silicon shortage ended about 5 months ago, so they actually can make them now. It's just that nobody's making enough. I mean, you're seeing this with the entire supply network for everything. It's taken a while to get the base materials, and it's taken a while for the production to get out. And then because there's so few of it, scalpers are buying up everything, and that's happening for a few items actually.
Have mercy, man. Have mercy.
I
keep thinking that maybe I just keep thinking that maybe they're just stuck on a ship somewhere. No,
I mean, they only sent 10 for the entire month last month to Colorado, so there's not that many out there.
Interesting. Well, hopefully you are successful with your drive. You said you have a long drive. How long is the drive, real quick?
It takes about 2 hours to get to Denver, but unfortunately, the warehouse is on the other side of Denver, so that adds another hour.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's a
I mean, I like road trips. You know what I mean? I like driving because it gives me time to just turn my brain off and just kind of meditate in a weird way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's less well, it's less nerve wracking as flying, in my personal opinion. But yeah, it gives you time to just kind of relax and just kind of listen to music or think about things, talk, ruminate about plans that you have, so on and so forth. So I think that I always find it a positive when I get a chance to get some time off in a car, right?
Yeah.
And drive for a couple hours because there's no excuse, right?
Right. Yeah, I like the drive is really pretty because it's all through the mountains. The problem is it's just I want to get back before dark because, like I said, all the roads are the highways all the way along a like ridge side for most of the mountain range. So I don't like driving it at dark because the like giant drop always creeps up on you and scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, oh man. I don't blame you. I remember driving through Denver and all that mountainous terrain and all that. I mean, to me, it's nerve wracking. That part is nerve wracking because there are no medians or
Right.
rails to stop you. So if your car just slides off, it just slides off. I mean, it
Yep.
just goes. There's no salvation, no more. You know what I mean? So hey, safe trip to you, man. All right.
Thanks.
No problem, man. No problem, man. Anyway, we got to jump into our stories because we got a lot to cover. We also do have a smattering of different people coming onto the show, which I'm very excited about as well. And we have a variety of stories and conversations to have with you guys today. But first, our first conversation today is important. We got to talk about it. Now, I know we've been covering this AstroWorld situation like crazy, as you already know. We've been covering it like a mug, okay? And there's more details that keep coming out. Every minute, every single day, there's always some new angle, some new piece of information that pops off where you're like, bruh, that actually happened? Oh, yes, it did. Now, here's a piece that I found very, very interesting. And it's in this article right here. Drake, he was involved with the show, right? He was involved with AstroWorld. He was on stage during the height of the chaos that was happening in the crowd, with all the concert goers getting crushed to death, some to death, and some within an inch of their life. But here is the title of this story right here. Drake spent over $1 million at a Houston strip club the day after AstroWorld. Yeah. So even the day after AstroWorld, did he not know what was going down? Did he not know that people had died? Well, here it is. Drake spent $1 million at a Houston club after AstroWorld tragedy appears first on Consequence. In the hours following the tragic events at AstroWorld, Drake, not Dave. Drake hosted an after party at a Dave & Buster's and then spent $1 million at a strip club. Now, I know that yesterday we talked about this, right? Last night. Some people in the chat, shout out to the fam that were in the chat chatting. Okay. They were all sitting there going, yo, not only did he go to a Dave & Buster's, but he also went to a strip club. So I did my due diligence to look this up to see if this was actually factual. And of course, indeed, it is. There are articles talking about this now. And there's video, which I'm about to show y'all asses. It's going to be beautiful. But moving on, he spent $1 million at a strip club. According to social media posts from associates of the Toronto rapper, Drake hit the Houston strip club, Area 29, on Saturday night. So the very next day, he went out and kicked it. In one video posted by DJ Academics, a group of female dancers are heard saying, "Thanks, Drake," which I'll show you in a second. In another video posted by Area 29, dollar bills are seen on the floor of the venue. 2 floors covered with money, and every dancer who worked there last night went home happy, reads the accompanying caption. Area 29 also thanked Drake in a since deleted post. Drake served as a special guest during Travis Scott's ill-fated AstroWorld performance. He addressed the tragedy in a statement posted on Instagram Monday morning, or Monday, writing, "I've spent the past few days trying to wrap my mind around this devastating tragedy. Now, here's what's interesting. You've spent days trying to wrap your mind around this tragedy. Yet you went out Saturday night and blew $1 million on a whole bunch of strippers or exotic dancers. I'm not trying to be rude, but some identify themselves as strippers. Okay. Spent $1 million on strippers, exotic dancers. The very next day, after 8, now 10 people have died. So even this whole, man, I spent the past few days trying to wrap my mind around this devastating tragedy. I hate resorting to this platform to express my emotion as delicate as grief, but this is where I find myself. My heart is broken for the families and friends of those who lost their lives. For anyone who is suffering, I will continue to pray for all of them and will be of service in any way I can. May God be with you all. Saturday. Let's go. Make it rain. So you spent days wrapping your mind around this, yet you were on not only just one floor of a strip club, 2, blasting $1 million on a whole bunch of strippers. And you're saying that you're wrapping your mind around this? So you're telling me your team never came up to you? You didn't open up Instagram or social media or the news on your phone and see that people were talking about this tragedy? It was Friday night. People were talking about this tragedy. And yet you still went. Like, see, this is the thing. Like, it's one thing for him to go and host a party at Dave & Buster's, right? It's right after the party. It's right after him doing his thing. He doesn't know anything, right? He just went up there, jumped around, got off the stage, and went to the Dave & Buster's to have a grand old time with Travis Scott, right? You're telling me from that point on, from Dave Buster's on, you didn't know anything? No one bothered to come to you and say, hey, man, 8 people died at that performance. During your performance, 8 people died. So you're telling me he just goes off, no one tells him anything, nor does he even open up a phone, goes to a strip club, makes it rain 1 million times over, and now he's sitting here saying a few days later, oh man, the past few days I've been wrapping my mind around, I've had a hard time wrapping my mind around this thing. What? $1 million, everybody. Million spent at a strip club. The very next day, someone like Ezra Blunt, a 9-year-old boy, is clinging to life, is fighting for his life. Bahardi Shahani is basically brain dead. Brain dead. 22-year-old Texas A&M college student, had a bright future. Dead. Fighting for her life too, but brain dead. And you're out on a Saturday throwing out money to a strip club? See, now there's a part of me that goes, of course Drake is lumped into this, and of course he's going to be sued for millions of dollars. If you can go into a strip club with a bag of $1 million, a bag full of $1 million, then you can afford paying for some people who have lost their loved ones, period. David, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I just agree with you here. I do think they probably knew by the time they were at the Dave Buster's within a few hours afterward. It was all over the news. And for those who have been to Dave Buster's arcades, they do have TVs on most of the walls, at least a couple. Most of them are playing sports or the like, but a few of them are playing the news. And of course, they have their phones. I don't believe they didn't know what happened at that case, or what happened at the concert, I mean. And I don't know. It just looks worse. It just keeps looking worse and worse because, like you said, they went to Dave and Buster's, which is basically, like I was saying, it's an arcade. Some of them have bowling alleys and things like that, and alcohol stands. But for the most part, it's just a place for games and hanging out. And then the day after that, they go to a strip club as well. At which point, they definitely knew what had happened, and they spent $1 million on strippers while people were in the hospital dying from brain damage. I mean, that $1 million could have brought in some high-paid specialist and actually made a significant difference. It's possible
Yep.
it could have even saved one of those lives that died from post-concert injuries. But they were partying instead. So,
Yep. You know
I mean,
what?
yeah.
No, I was good. I was just going to agree with you, David. You said it beautifully. That money could have been spent on something useful rather than spent on. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, these women are working, right, and they deserve to get paid too. But at the same time, the consequences that are going on are a little bit greater than being able to slide down a pole and twerk. No offense, but there are people's lives there are people still fighting for their lives right now. Still, there's still a few people that are still severely injured due to this squeeze, right? Due to this trample that happened. And he decided to take that millions of dollars, $1 million, okay, and spend it on some strippers. Like I said, no shade on sex workers, none. But at the same time, this money could have been spent on something much more greater, which is people's lives. I want to show you this video, okay? This is video proof. You're going to see right here all the money that is just strewn all over the floor. Millions of dollars. That millions of dollars could have been spent on funeral arrangements, funeral bills for the other 8 victims that have died. Not only just hospital bills, but the people that have actually perished. That millions of dollars could have taken care of a lot of stuff. But he used it for his own selfish reasons. And I get it. Like, here it is. Let me say this too. You know, before I throw this more and show this video. I get it. Maybe that's his way of what's the word? Blowing off steam. When one person's stressed, right? They tend to lean towards their vices, right? And let's be real. This is Drake we're talking about. This is not just the average Joe, right? Instead of that person just going home and drinking a couple beers or a couple cocktails and just pacing back and forth and going, what the hell? This is Drake we're talking about. So this could be his way of trying to blow off some steam and just trying to shake it off. Taylor Swift, right? This could be his way of trying to blow off steam, and this could be a vice of his. But still, it is extremely poor timing. It's badly done. If this was like in another city, on another side of the country, maybe I'd give him that. But in Houston itself, when there are people probably down that street or on the other side of town fighting for their lives inside of a hospital, and you decide to spend that money at a strip club, it's exactly, Nur. I totally agree. It is absolutely poor taste. Tyler said tone deaf. Absolutely tone deaf as well. But let's take a look at this video.
Yeah. That was funny.
Say thanks, Drake.
And it's still on Yasmin Instagram. Exactly. Yeah.
So you see $1 million in ones. Look at all that. Look at all that. Unbelievable. Right? So you got $1 million that he just threw out there. See what I'm saying? It's like instead of them actually saying, instead of Drake or even Travis Scott sitting here going, "Oh man, you know I'm gonna fight these guys tooth and nail," or let me get these the proper representation to do such and such. Instead of him doing all that, instead of him doing all of that, he could have just said, "You know what? Nah, I'm just paying for everything. F it. F it. I'm done. I'm not even gonna fight this. Because what's done is done. And what was wrong that happened was wrong, and they know it. Now, like I said, I don't think Drake should totally be thrown under the bus. I don't think Drake should be totally thrown under the bus. Real talk. I really don't think he is fully to blame. I really don't. But I do think that he has a part of it. And this is just a very bad look, right? This is a very, very bad cherry on top of a very ugly sundae that they have all put together themselves. And to add insult to injury, he goes Saturday night as the news and people and channels like myself are covering this. Everybody and their mama knows about this. You're telling me he didn't know anything? He didn't know anything? You're telling me that these dancers that are at this strip club didn't know about what happened? Guarantee you they did. Because everybody knows about this tragedy. I was getting emails and text messages that night from people saying, "Yo, man, you need to cover this story because this is insane. Oh my gosh." You know, shaking my head. What the hell happened? Please investigate into this. Friday night. I kid you not, Friday night, everyone knew. You know, for a fact, these exotic dancers knew what was going on. Real mother-loving talk. But of course, they're secure in a bag. I get it. Do you, boo-boo? Make that money. But Drake knew too. And yet he still shows up, blasts a whole bunch of money, and he blasts money on the wrong people. Period. He put his focus on the wrong situation.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I mean, originally when we first covered this, at least I didn't know a whole lot of what went on with Drake at the concert. All we knew at the time, all I knew at the time was that he showed up and basically did a small part. But you know, as more information comes out, it seems like he was present during the whole part where Travis Scott was egging everyone on to, you know, rage and be more violent. And you know, we just discussed the Dave and Buster's that, you know, it's possible they went there without knowing. Though I do think they would have figured it out during the time at Dave and Buster's. But this one just goes to a different level. I mean, I'm happy for the strippers that they got a bunch of money, but he's not showing any remorse here. He's not showing, at least to me, he doesn't seem like he feels any sense of remorse. And I mean, he's having fun. I don't know. Maybe he is different, but at least for me, if something bad just happens, I'm not going to be out there having fun. Probably going to be somewhere much more quiet and stay back. But I don't know. Maybe he's different. But to me, it looks like he's just having fun. It doesn't look like he's dealing with anything based on what we're hearing here. So yeah, I mean, it makes him look worse now. So from what we initially saw, I didn't think he had much to do with it, but now he was present for a part of it, and he doesn't seem to even care what happened to it while blowing money on strippers. Like I said, in general, blowing money on strippers, that's his choice. But you know, doing this a day after all those people were injured, while there were several people with basically brain dead in the hospital dying. Just doesn't seem like he cares whatsoever. And I don't think. I mean, it is a bad look, but I think it's even deeper than that because it is showing that he's willing to just allow these things to happen, and it doesn't have any like skin off of his back, even though he's making a profit off of it. And he's using that profit to party. I put him a little more culpable than I did when I first heard the reports. I mean, we still don't have as many details about what he did there as Travis. I mean, Travis was literally telling people to rage while people were raging and killing each other. So that's another level. But the more and more I see, the more obvious it is that Drake has some level of culpability as well.
Yes. I mean, he doesn't have his whole hand in it, but he's got a pinky in it. How's that? He played some part in it. He maybe he shouldn't be thrown all the way under the bus. But when you see something like this, where he spends $1 million on something, like I said, okay, it's like Ezra's life, right? And being able to spend as much, the best money, buying or paying for the best medical attention that money can buy, or a jiggly booty in your face. You have money in front of you. Which one are you going to spend? What's more important to you? This young child's life or some visuals that you could just throw some money on? What's more important? I mean, it shouldn't even take a second to go, the child. Clearly, it's the child. Protect the child. Best medical attention that money can buy. Let's go. What's he need? I got a bag full of ones, $1 million in ones in this bag right now. Yes, it was meant for a strip club. Okay, get off me. All right. But this is for the kid. What can I buy? What can I pay for right now to give this child the best medical attention that he can get? Or, hey, here's $1 million. What can I do to help the many other people that are in the hospital right now, probably fighting for their lives right now? I will give you this bag right now. Forget Area 29. Forget the exotic dancers and the strippers and the twerking and the sliding down the pole for one weekend. Let me take this money and do the right thing with it. That's what should have happened. But he did not do that. He decided the opposite. Crazy. Crazy, y'all. Crazy. Speaking of other crazy stuff, unfortunately, we have to move on because, like I said, there's a lot of stories to talk about. We got to go into this next piece, and this is a little bit of a left turn. It's not in the title. It's not in the title at all, but we need to cover it too because it is going to be one of the biggest weeks ever, and we will be covering this at some point. But Kyle Rittenhouse closing arguments begin this week. All right. Before the jury goes in to figure out the verdict on Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, I know that David has a little bit of some information in regards to the National Guard being called in, which is very interesting. But let's read this article really quick. Closing arguments are scheduled to begin Monday in Kyle Rittenhouse's murder trial, with the case expected to go to jury very soon. Okay? The jury will decide Kyle's fate, could be allowed to consider some lesser charges in addition to those prosecutors originally brought against him after fierce debate by both sides on Friday. Closing arguments in the case are expected to take upwards to 4 to 5 hours. So, Judge Bruce Schroeder will then reduce the number of jurors from 18 to 12 by drawing names out of a tumbler in much the same way lottery numbers are chosen. The former police youth cadet from Antioch, Illinois, was in Kenosha. Obviously, we already know about this. AR-style semi-automatic rifle and a medical kit in what he said was an effort to protect the property from damaging protests that broke out over the shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man, by a white Kenosha police officer. So we already know all this stuff. He has killed some men. He has injured, maimed another man. And of course, there's a lot of stuff going on where people are feeling that, one, since we already see the judge right there, that the judge has been fairly biased towards Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, this is for argument's sake. This is what people are saying. And that the prosecution is just falling on their face falling on their face hard. But here it is. Closing arguments happen this week. Then the jury will go in to figure out what the verdict is on this young man. Now, David has some more information about the National Guard being called out in preparation for this verdict. David.
All right. So the governor, Tony Evers, of Wisconsin, asked that the National Guard be activated in preparation for the verdict, possibly coming this or next week in the case over Kyle Rittenhouse. 500 troops are reporting for active duty, so Guard that are going to be activated for the incident. And law enforcement, they are working with law enforcement in the city as they kind of brace. They're basically expecting a series of unrest after this. Major General Paul Knapp, Wisconsin's Adjutant General, said in a news release, "We stand ready to support our communities during times of need. In close coordination with the governor, we have assembled approximately 500 soldiers to help keep Kenosha community safe, should a request from our local partners arrive or come in." And so they also point out that they will have protests, which are illegal. They will not call the National Guard just for normal First Amendment right protest, only if violence begins. However, the police will be present for the protest as well, which they, I think, always are. At least every time I've seen, they've always been present. But this comes at the end of the trial. The defense has just finished. It only took them a couple of days after the prosecutor. So it looks like that he is most likely going to at least not have the murder charges, possibly just the fine for taking the rifle over state lines. And we're starting to see that. I think generally the news is kind of preparing for that. I mean, even the Young Turks recently, they finally watched the video from last year of the top-down scenario, which is interesting. They mentioned they admitted they just now watched it, and even they are now saying that Kyle is most likely going to go free, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But that video has been out for a year, so you could have watched it then. Either way, it looks like based on the news and including left media, most people are expecting him to be freed at this point, possibly with the exception of the $10,000 fine, which may also carry up to 6 months in jail, I believe, for carrying the rifle over state lines without a parent's supervision. If he had a parent's supervision, like if his parents were there, it would have actually been completely legal, it looks like, according to what was discussed in the trial, that is. So most likely he will be, the murder charges will be gone or dropped or, found innocent, I mean. And he will probably walk. So that's why they're preparing for this so much, I think, because at this point with the trial basically over, it does look like he's going to be walking.
Yeah, I think obviously all roads are going down towards not guilty from what I'm seeing. But it also depends on the jury. Depends on the jury and what they say and how they feel about this whole situation. I don't think that, from what I've seen, because this is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of trial content, right? That has been showing them dealing with this whole case. I just feel like the prosecution has dropped the ball, personally. And I know that there are people out here that feel some type of way about this, that feel that he is not guilty, that this man should walk, or this young man should walk. And in my personal opinion, this is my prediction. I think he's going to be found guilty on certain things, but not all things. I think what's going to happen is he's not going to be found guilty on murder charges. He's going to be found guilty on, a minor, illegal possession of a weapon, so on and so forth. I just don't think that he is going to be someone that's going to get. I don't think he's facing. I really don't think he's facing life in prison. I think he's going to get a slap on the wrist. And let me just say this. This is not what I agree with, but I feel like this is what the facts are going to be. The verdict is going to come out where he is either going to be a mistrial or he's going to be found not guilty. He's going to be found guilty on small charges, which is what David just said. It'll be small, like I said, slap on the wrist type of ish, and they're going to keep him moving. Now, is the city going to be okay with it? Are the people, the court of public opinion, going to be okay with this verdict? I think not. I think that people are going to rage. People are going to get very upset about this, and they're going to protest. I really hope it doesn't get to that level, but there's a possibility where it's going to go down that route. And I keep thinking, like, man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've seen some crazy, protests out in the streets or anything of that sort. And I'd hate for this to start all over again, but I feel like this is where it's going to go down. What do you think, David?
Yeah, most likely. Let's see. So, I mean, he will get the, like I said, most likely he will pay the fine for the misdemeanor because he's allowed to have it in his state. It's just the issue of him taking it overstate without supervision is what makes it a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. That is one thing that came up earlier on. So, I mean, if you look at the other cases, it was the third person that actually defended him that he shot. He was involved.
Oh, man. Hey, David. Do me a favor. Maybe jump off and jump back on again because your feed is trash right now.
All right, right back.
And real quick before you hop off, Zozo Bob just said, breaking now, judge has dismissed weapons charge. Is that true?
I mean, they were talking about it since they're inside of.
Well, how about this? Hop off, hop back on, and we'll discuss that because that's news. That is new news for me.
I'll be right back.
Sure. See you in a minute. That is new news to me, y'all. New news to me. Excuse me. That is some wild-ish because if that's really true, oh my God. Wow. Hold up. Zozo Bob just said something else. Shout out to Zozo Bob. Thank you so much, my brother. But he said, don't know, but they just announced it. Weapon charge dismissed. What? Why? See what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense. See what I'm saying? This judge, and of course, this is my own personal opinion. All right. And I know that everybody else has their own opinions about this whole situation, right? No, he's gone. About this whole situation. But doesn't that seem a little weird to you? Doesn't that seem a little weird? Don't it? I keep thinking that the judge is fairly biased, is heavily biased towards Kyle Rittenhouse. He's been having his back since day one. I mean, it all started with him going, okay, so the people that were killed during this situation at the hands of Kyle Rittenhouse, we are not going to call them victims anymore. It started right there, y'all. It started then, and it just spilled on over. So you're telling me that this dude, man, come on now, man. Come on now. Come on now, man. You serious? Is this a fair trial? Has it been a fair trial? That's the question I want to know. Has it been, though? I beg to differ. I really do beg to differ. I'm just not with it. And like I said, I'm trying my damnedest to be cool with it, right? And just go with the flow. But I'm not riding this flow. I'm just not. I just don't. So if that's just brand new, I mean, I'm going to look this up now too, because I don't know if David's coming back. Let's see. I don't see anything yet. But hopefully we will most likely have to table that conversation here in a little bit. And because, like I said, that's still developing information. Zozo Bob, if you do have an article or a link or something like that that shows otherwise about that, I would really appreciate it if you could email it to us or something, because that is some information that is very, very new to me. And of course, that can change a lot of different things. Real talk. I think that would be very important to cover and talk about, because that's some new breaking story. That's new breaking news to me. CNN had it on 5 minutes ago. That's what's up. Well, dag nabbit. That is some very interesting stuff, but we will be covering that obviously as time goes on. We will be looking at that like crazy. But to me, that is some very, very interesting information. That is frustrating information, in my personal opinion. I mean, this dude could just walk out unscathed completely. You think that maybe his cry helped? I'll just throw it out there. His crocodile tear cry, did it help? That's what I'd like to know as well. Okay, but we got to move on to our next story, and this is a very interesting one as well. It's a little bit of a throwback. Okay, I don't know if you remember Carol Baskin. Killed her husband, whacked him. Carol Baskin of Tiger King, right? Tiger King is about to come out with a second season, even though Joe Exotic is still locked up right now and battling cancer. Man, he's battling a severe case of that cancer. They're coming out with a second season on Netflix. Now, Carol Baskin has been very upset about this whole situation and had some things to say about it. Recently, though, she started her own reality show called Cage Fight, if I'm correct. That is on right now on Discovery Plus. She has her own reality show called Carol Baskin's Cage Fight, where she basically is rescuing big cats. Full on thing. Her own reality show. And here to talk about it, my brother Bare Hands Baran of Wildlife Command Center and the reality show Bare Hands Rescue is here to talk about this. Now, I got to ask you, I mean, okay, Carol Baskin, clearly we already know about Carol Baskin and the things that she's done or allegedly has done, right? What are your thoughts on this whole situation with this show on Discovery Plus?
Well, first off, we're talking about two individuals that I really have no love for at all. You know, neither one of them are outstanding individuals as people, and neither one of them are champions for the animals. You know, they both certainly have their own agendas in all of this. But, you know, I feel fairly strongly about the Carol Baskins show itself, because at first glance, when you first look at it, you know, here she is profiting off of the caging of tigers, just like Joe Exotic. What's the difference?
So when you say that she's basically capitalizing off of these big cats, right? How would you, like, what do you mean exactly? Because here it is. She's known, or at least she promotes herself as someone who is rescuing these big cats from terrible situations, right? From bad owners, etc. Right? So why would you say that? What do you mean exactly by her being bad?
Well, first off, it's all subjective, of course, but she sets her sights, her targets. She picks her targets and she sets her sights. And, there's no oversight on who she goes after. And she's a tenacious um, predator herself. If she feels like these animals are being neglected or taken care of, then she's very tenacious to go after a particular person or another. And there's multiple cases on the books. I mean, if you really want to dig into it, you can see where she's gone after people that fully and legitimately are taking care of the animals, but she doesn't want them with that person. And so I think that, if you've got an organization or an individual that's going after people to take away from them something that belongs to them, and there's no oversight whatsoever, then who is it that decides if that animal is being abused or not?
Right. And I get that. I mean, I can only imagine how how things are being taken care of on the outside of things now, because I understand that she has this reality show. Is she really promoting proper care? Is she really promoting rescuing these big cats, or is it just straight up an opportunity to secure a bag?
Well, it appears, especially whenever we don't know because we're not inside the organization, but stuff will come out as time goes. But it looks like that she's profiting from the drama that she creates when she goes after these animals,
Right.
and I run a rescue also. I rescue a lot of different things. I rescue people from animals, and I rescue animals from the situation. But I never set my sights on somebody to go get them. You know, it's always a situation where people typically say, "Hey, look, I can't take care of these animals anymore," or Missouri Department of Conservation or some other entity comes in and says, "Hey, we need your assistance to get these animals and take these animals out." There's a whole different types of rescue, you know, but when we let one individual decide what needs to be done and if these animals are endangered or being abused or whatever, then it's very difficult because now you're talking about power. And if she doesn't like you, now you're talking about vengeance, you know. I mean, you take Joe Exotic, for example. I mean, it's obvious Carol Baskin does not like him
No,
at all.
not at all.
None.
No, they have what's the word? They have their tasers, their lasers set on each other. Just arch
Carol
nemesis.
Baskins is Joe Exotic's nemesis. That's
Absolutely.
the word.
Absolutely, man. And so, because I know that you have your own reality show, Bare Hands Rescue, that is available on Discovery Plus. It's on Animal Planet right now as well. As far as this all goes on with this, I mean, is this a good representation of a reality show based around animal care, pest control, so on and so forth?
Well, again, that's very subjective. I mean, I think when you watch the show, if you've got that feeling, that tinge in your gut of, man, she is something else, then that's not a good environment. It's not a good environment for the animals. It's not a good environment for any of the people that are involved in it.
Mhm.
I think as the show progresses, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch it. My initial gut instinct is I don't want to support that. I don't want to be involved with that stuff. It just goes against my being. But
Right.
I've got to watch it. I've got to make a determination of what's going on because people ask me. You know, people want to know. People are interested in, is this legitimate? What is the motivation? You know,
Right.
and I think that's what it boils down to. What is the motivation? In my own rescue, I'm trying to bring people resolution. If they can't take care of their animals, then I step in and help them resolve that. If an animal is being intrusive and taking over a person's home, then I step in and I resolve that and try to find a win-win situation for both of the creatures, the humans and the animal. And my motivation is to resolve a conflict. When your motivation is revenge, or your motivation is vengeance, or your motivation is ill will because you just don't like somebody, then I think that's where we run into problems.
Right.
You know?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, if there's ill intent, it's never going to be a positive, right? It can never turn into something positive if your motives are negative, for sure. Let's take a left turn. Let's take a quick and hard left turn. We have got to talk about this. We got to talk about this thing. Brian Laundrie. I know. I'm saying it now. Everybody, you want to tune in for this piece, okay? Brian Laundrie. We got to talk about this. I haven't talked about this since the day that we went live and I said, okay, him dead, right? So now, obviously, there's the anthropologists, forensics, all that stuff have still not confirmed whether this man is alive or not. So my thing is this. Obviously, you are someone who knows your thing or two about wilderness and the swamp and all that. Do you think Brian Laundrie is still alive?
Oh, well, I can't even speculate on that. I mean, if he is still alive, then we've got a modern day top seller novel about how you can pull the wool out from underneath the FBI, the police, the law enforcement, and everything. Because, I mean, imagine the spectacle of being able to pull this off, plant some human remains out in the swamp, and lead a bunch of clues that make it seem like you're out there, but you're completely somewhere else. You're in a cave in Appalachian Mountains, or somehow you got out of the country. I mean, imagine that. I mean, if that's the case.
See that.
However,
yeah, please. However,
if those are his remains, then when you and I were talking about this, he was dead to get that kind of decomposition, you know? So while we were talking, he was dead. And we can talk about what happened in the swamp, what happens with animals and dead bodies in the swamp. And also, I mean, I think at some point we need to talk about the capabilities of cadaver dogs.
Okay. So yes, I'm glad that you went there because that was the next piece that I was going to talk about. Okay. Cadaver dogs. Okay. And I know you don't have a whole lot of time, but let's make this quick. Cadaver dogs. Allegedly, there were canines out there, law enforcement canines, cadaver dogs out there, and they did not catch a scent of a dead body. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Brian Laundrie's skeletal remains show up out of the clear blue sky. Now, how did these dogs not catch a whiff of a dead body? Is that even possible?
Well, certainly it is possible because, one, we have to realize how large that landmass was that they were out there in. You know, and a cadaver dog does need to be within a certain distance. And then it has to be a good cadaver dog. All cadaver dogs are not the same. You know, we tend to think that if a dog qualifies as a cadaver dog, that it's a good dog. But dogs are just like people. You know, you've got some that excel in what they do, and you've got others that are barely capable of the minimum requirements.
Okay. So then how do you differentiate between a good cadaver dog and a bad cadaver dog? And why were they not bringing out the best of the best, creme de la creme of cadaver dogs out in that swamp then?
Well, first off, how much money are you going to spend? This particular manhunt was pre-conviction. So they were just looking for him just to get him to answer some questions. So, I mean, it's not like he shot the president, it was a case of maybe he had something to do with his girlfriend's death, so how much money are you going to spend on it? The other thing is, how many animals are available? How many cadaver dogs are available to bring in? Did they source the cadaver dogs locally, or did they come in just from Florida? I don't think they shipped cadaver dogs in from Minnesota.
I mean, you're spending $200,000 a day for law enforcement of all types to be out there combing that swamp. So to me, I'm going, well, if you have $200,000, and I understand that's still a lot of people that have to be that are being paid that $200,000, but wouldn't you think that it would be try to bring in the best that money could buy, not just somebody who just happens to be just
No, because one thing is they weren't really looking for a dead body. They were looking for it was a manhunt. They were looking for a live body. So their resources were being spent on, how do you find a live human out in the swamp? If so, low priority bringing cadaver dogs in. I mean, you think about cadaver dogs, you think about dogs that are, one, it is a low priority because most of the time you figure the person is dead, or there's a dead human. Mostly cadaver dogs are to come in and clean up, like with 9/11. They use a lot of cadaver dogs in that, trying to figure out where the dead bodies were.
Right.
But the other thing is, cadaver dogs are low priority. Cadaver dogs don't help you solve crimes. Cadaver dogs don't help you find a man. Cadaver dogs just help you find a body. And if it's a body you're looking for, that's low priority because it's dead and you can't do anything with it. You can't solve a crime with the cadaver dog. So I would think that in this particular situation, that Brian Landry's situation, cadaver dogs were pretty low priority. So I don't know, but I don't think they really sourced out the cream of the crop.
Gotcha. Okay, so then let's talk about this then. Okay, this is our last This is our last question, and of course, this is pretty much the last conversation I'm going to have about Brian Laundrie until something huge happens, like they say he's still alive or something crazy like that. But here's my question to you: buzzards. Now, apparently, they were in like a buzzard. I don't even know what the terminology is. I don't know the term, but they were saying that if there was a dead body or a carcass of any type, right, that there would have been buzzards flying around, right, searching and trying to eat off of this dead body. There were none. So how is that even possible?
Well, I think saying there were none is not the right terminology. There were not enough to be noticed. But a couple of things happen with vultures. First off, for instance, when a horse dies, oftentimes the vultures don't know exactly where that horse is, and so they will catch scent of the fatty acids being released as the body decomposes, and that's released into the air, and so they circle around, and they're circling trying to figure out where exactly that scent is coming from. All right. Vultures don't circle around a dead body if they know where it's at. Like, for instance, if it's out in the open and it's cut open, or for instance, a deer gets hit on the side of the road, vultures don't circle around that. They come right in, they land in the trees, they land on the carcass, and they start eating. Vultures circle around when there's death and they can't figure out exactly where it is, and they don't know where to land to come in to eat it. So a couple of things could happen. If he committed suicide, let's just say, and that, say he shot himself. I'm just speculating at this point, but if it was late in the afternoon, then the body wouldn't even be detected by vultures at all. So they don't even know where to go. Okay.
Right.
Well, if he shot himself, and we've got to think that it was dry land. I can't imagine him wading out into chest deep water to commit suicide. We don't know, but if he shot himself in the evening, then that night there's going to be coyotes ravaging the body because they're not going to wait very long, you know, and there's coyotes everywhere. If it was in the water, then there's another things happens. There's a lot of fish, there's a lot of crabs and turtles and things like that start eating at the body. And so if the body was disassembled in the night, then the next day the vultures are not going to circle. They're going to find it, but they're going to come straight down on it. They're not going to circle around a whole lot. They're going to fly in, they're going to catch the scent, they're going to see another vulture down there, they're going to go straight in. So you're not going to have this big circling like you do when they don't know exactly where the body is.
Gotcha. No, and I see that piece. I get that part. It's just, I guess though, I think a lot of people are just confused and speculating. Obviously, understandably, they're speculating along the lines of this body or these skeletal remains just suddenly just popped out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, right? And I know that some people are saying, "Oh, he probably was eaten by a alligator of some sort, or there's something must have happened out there." But they're saying that the harsh temps and the harsh nature, the harsh elements of nature could have done a lot to his body as well before they were able to find his body, right? So even when we were talking the last time you were on the show, he had probably perished at that time, been long dead before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't really seen good pictures of the skeletal remains, and typically they don't show that stuff. They don't allow the public to see that. But depending on where that, I mean, at some point somebody's going to give us a timeline on those skeletal remains, you know,
Right.
but it takes a while for that much meat and fat and stuff to dissolve to where there's just bones. I mean, that
Right.
takes months, you know, and of course it has been a couple of months since we talked.
Yes, it has been a
So it's
couple
very
months.
possible. You know, I don't think an alligator ate him. Typically, if an alligator eats it, there's no skeletal remains, typically.
Right.
Now, what if it was a small alligator? What if he committed suicide and a small alligator came upon it? Well, it would eat what it wanted, you know, and could disassemble the body, certainly, you know, and then everything else. You know, there's a lot of stuff out in the swamp that wants to eat meat. There's a lot of carnivores out there, and human meat is top of the line, you know.
That is, yeah. From what I hear. Michael, thank you so much for being on. Michael of Bare Hands Rescue and of Wildlife Command Center. Thank you so much for being on. Can you let everybody know where they can find your YouTube channel and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a great YouTube channel. We get into a lot of different things on our YouTube channel. We talk about animals, but we also have a lot of entertaining things. We do a lot of rescue work, but it's Wildlife Command Center. That's the YouTube channel. You can find our website at wildlifecommandcenter.com. And then you can find my personal website at michaelbaran.io.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really do appreciate it. And of course, you are my go-to guy for anything that happens in the wilderness and with animals. So I appreciate you coming on to chop it up with me.
Thanks
Thank you
for having
again.
me. Yep.
Anytime. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. So yeah, guys, I mean, of course, like I said before, this is probably the last time that I talk about this Brian Laundrie case, the Gabby Petito thing, but there were still some lingering questions, at least in the back of my mind, that I felt that Michael is very knowledgeable about those things. He knows his way around animals and dealing with the elements of outdoors and nature and all that. And this man is very, very, very talented. So definitely go over to his Wildlife Command Center YouTube channel, Wildlife Command Center. Go and check him out. Hit that subscribe button because he is well equipped and extremely knowledgeable for all things that have everything from how to get a bird out of your house to even the heavier and crazier things out there, right? And also, if you haven't gotten the chance, go check out my ride along with him. It was hilarious. It was educational. And it was one for the books. I'll just be honest. I don't think I'll ever not have that lingering smell of dead deer just ever so gently resting on my nostril hairs. I'm not kidding. I'll never forget that stuff. So please go check him out. Dude is extremely talented, and check out our ride along. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, we got to jump into our next story. We got a whole lot of stuff going on. Real quick, David, you're back. Thank you so much. Glad your internet is doing good again. I understand they said something about the judge dismissing Kyle Rittenhouse's weapon charges. Can we talk about that really quick before we move on to our next stories? Because we got a couple other stories to go through here real quick.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes. So basically, from what I've read on Wisconsin law sites, they have been looking at dismissing this misdemeanor for a little bit, which is the gun charge, simply because it is a misdemeanor, because the rest are obviously felonies being charged for first-degree murder. In addition to this, the prosecutor forgot to bring up the curfew issue, though everyone present obviously was in violation of that. So that one got dropped because he didn't bring it up. But this one, they were just discussing dismissing it since the case is mostly about self-defense and the murder or the shootings and the attack, whatever you want to call it. And so that's why they decided to dismiss this one, because it is a misdemeanor. And in terms of Wisconsin law, it would only matter in terms of the self-defense if him having the weapon was a felony, and then that would become a part of the trial, and it could destroy his attempt at self-defense. But since it's merely a misdemeanor, it doesn't actually have an effect on the self-defense charges. It's just a fine, basically, which I mentioned before. I think it's up to 6 months in prison and up to $10,000 in a fine. One or the other, but those are the maximums. So like I said, they were discussing possibly dropping that earlier, and I guess they just finally decided to do so.
So now he's not even going to face even a misdemeanor. So
Right.
if he walks out, if he's found not guilty, it's all going to be based on murder charges now. That's it. So if he's found guilty or not guilty, that is it. If he's found not guilty on those charges, dude gonna walk. Dude is just gonna straight walk. What? Oh my God.
And part of the
God, not even a slap on the wrist, y'all.
and again, I don't know Wisconsin law, so I'm getting this from law sites, but they like I said, basically, because it is the misdemeanor, the murder charges are all that are going to continue on here. But like I said, they were expecting this to be dropped. At least the law sites were saying that this might be dropped early on, simply because it doesn't fit the high-profile felony charge that they're focusing on. But that's the reasoning I read anyway. I don't know what exact arguments they gave right before they decided to drop that one. Like I said, they dropped the curfew one because the prosecutor did not bring it up. I think partially why they were letting go of the misdemeanor charge for a while is because Huber, the person he shot in the arm that ultimately took the stand for him, he actually did not have an active permit, so he was technically committing a felony when he had the gun on him and when he pulled it out, and yet they're not charging him for that. So I think that's part of why they might be dropping it, to kind of mitigate the fact that Huber was performing a felony charge with having a concealed pistol without a active permit.
Gotcha. And we've talked about this in great length. I think it was Thursday when we had our debate and everything. The first time in a very long time that you and I did not agree. I mean, obviously we agree to disagree. But at the same time, the fact that he's not even walking away, the possibility of this young man not even walking away with a slap on the wrist is still beyond me. It's still shocking.
And the families can still bring up lawsuits. That's always.
Oh yeah, I mean they could still go after him.
But
what are they gonna do?
Right. I mean, Huber's the only one that had family come forward to defend him. The other two have not. So the only lawsuit could come from Huber, most likely, I think. But he was active on the stand defending Kyle Rittenhouse, even though he shot him. So I'm not sure if we'll see a lawsuit from there, especially after the additional video came out, and the fact that they figured out he had a felony pistol on him at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it looks like right now.
Very, very interesting. I just saw something. Somebody, a lady just asked something. A lady 747 just said, I heard, I thought I heard he stole a gun from his neighbor. And she said, David, is that true? Now, the thing is that it is true, but not true at the same time. He didn't, it was his gun. He bought it. It was his gun. So yes, he technically took the gun, but he didn't steal it because it was his. Does that make sense? So he took the gun from his friend's house, unbeknownst to his friend, and then ran off to go, obviously, what happened, go into that fateful night, right? Of where he took people's lives, right? And shot some people as well, or shot someone as well. So the thing is that yes, he did take it, but I wouldn't technically say it was stolen because it was his. He possessed the gun. He bought it and it was his gun. Mm-hmm. It's just that they didn't know that he took the gun. David?
And from what I understand, it's only a misdemeanor because he did not have a parent there supervising him. Otherwise, it would not have been a crime whatsoever. But his mom dropped him off and allegedly didn't know where he was for some reason.
Didn't know what he was doing. Okay. Okay.
And you can own guns at any age. I had a shotgun when I was 14.
I mean, sure, but as long as you have parental supervision.
Right, but Bob was asking, so I just wanted to answer that real quick.
Sorry. I was just like, wait, of course.
And for Wisconsin, the laws are if you're over, I think it was 12, you can have one, specifically for hunting. And if your family's parent is with you, you just have it for like practice or anything like that. But I don't remember the exact cutoff for parent supervision. I do believe it's 18 though, so that's why it's a misdemeanor because he did not have parental supervision while he had it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we got to go into some other stories here because we don't have a whole lot of time and all that. We got to keep it moving. Like I said, there's going to be a smattering of different stories and a smattering of different pieces of information that has transpired over this weekend. So we are going to talk about those things. Obviously, yesterday I did a big show last night where we broke the story about Ezra Blunt, dead at 9 years old. He is the 10th victim of the AstroWorld tragedy. So if you haven't gotten a chance to go check that out, I broke that story late last night. Go check it out. It is on the YouTube channel page. Please go check it out. Share it with your friends and all that stuff. There is a GoFundMe account or a link posted to the top of the chat that's still up there right there. So please go, if you can, donate, contribute, support that family because that family does need as much help as they bloody can right now. They just lost their little boy. And so I just had to say that really quick before we move on to our next stories and all that. So here it is. We do have a good story here. We do. Okay. Actually, before I do that, let me bring in Breon. How you doing, Breon? How you doing? Hello. Okay. Sorry, we got to jump into it. I would love to be able to say hi, how you doing, and see what's popping and all that, but unfortunately, we got to get this story moving. So we do have this good story. This is good news, okay? In my personal opinion, there is some good news, but then it has a weird-ass twist, y'all. It is very weird, okay? I was trying to do this story last week, but I don't know why the StreamYard lords did not want me to talk about this story. So I'm going to try to talk about this story today. So Jashya Moore is a 14-year-old girl in New Jersey that went missing. All right. She had been missing for almost a month. She went to a deli to pick up some food and she never returned home. She just disappeared. Right. She'd been gone for almost a month. Everybody and their mama was so worried about this, right? We're all sitting there going, what happened to Jashya Moore? Where is her? Where is she? Find her, find her, find her. Well, last week, she was found. But before we go into that story, I want to show you guys a little bit of a video that shows kind of a breakdown, background story of her missing. And then we'll go into the rest. And like I said, if you're not reading the title, things get weird.
My daughter, she would not want me to worry.
But Jashya Moore's mother has been frantic for 2 weeks, ever since her 14-year-old daughter went to the deli around the block from their East Orange home and didn't return.
And she's such a smart girl. She would not stay out overnight.
Jashya, known as a homebody, was always engrossed in PlayStation and helping her 3-year-old brother with Spider-Man games.
I just downloaded it.
Jashya downloads it for you?
Yeah, now I can play it.
We're inside the U.S. Food Market on Central Avenue in East Orange. And Jashya's mother says on the morning of October 14th, about 7:30 a.m., her daughter came here to buy juice and paper towels. When the teen returned home, her mom says she didn't have the family's EBT card for food assistance.
She came back and she said, Mommy, I lost the card. I said, backtrack your steps.
A local salon owner told Jashya's mom she saw the teen looking sad that morning. And we learned something else from a worker at U.S. Food Market.
Somebody pay for her.
Yeah, somebody come in with her and buy for her.
So somebody was with her and paid for her items.
Yes, they have hat and a mask and all. See.
Police now have the surveillance footage of Jashya's deli visits. But losing the food card was not the only thing the teen may have had on her mind. Jashya's aunt says the girl's stepfather is an East Orange cop accused of domestic violence last year when the family was living in nearby Irvington.
I saw him punch my niece twice in the face. They sent me the letter that it was going to grand jury. And I think it's extremely convenient and coincidental that my niece goes missing a couple weeks later.
When we called the East Orange Detective Squad and then the chief's office about the case, we were directed to call the press officer at City Hall. We got voicemail.
My niece is a Black Afro-Latina girl. You understand? When you're in a disenfranchised community like East Orange, Chocolate City, there's a lot of, and I would say, ignoring of Black little girls.
Jashya's mother told us police have searched her house, removed important documents, and also took her phone to dump information. The mom says the teen did not have her own phone.
I feel like they're treating me like I'm not the victim's mother. My daughter.
So obviously this is old news now, right? Because this was something that happened. This story that broke happened about a week or two ago. And of course, everyone was sitting there going, where is Jashya Moore? This young, beautiful Black girl missing for almost a month, right? Well, there was some good news. Like, I'm going to be real. There was some good news. She was found. This little girl was found. And I'm going, okay, man, this is a Cleo Smith situation, right? Remember the 4-year-old that was missing in West Australia? I'm sitting there going, yes, we found this young Black girl, and finally it's not a dead body. Thank God it's not another missing Black girl that is missing here, right? Now, you also heard that story. You heard that piece where the family was saying that the stepdad was abusive, and also he's a cop too. So of course, everyone and their mom is going, wait a second. And she's supposed to go and testify against this stepdad who has been abusive towards her. And I'm assuming towards the mother as well. Right. So of course, we're all speculating. Our brain, the wheels are turning. The hamster wheel is turning. You know what I mean? So a couple days ago, last week, this young girl was found. Great, right? Well, this is where it gets very strange. Man, and this is when I'm like, damn. Does it have to happen like this? Well, it does. So she gets found, and guess what? Mama gets arrested. What? Let's look at this video. Oops.
News, the mother of 14-year-old Jashya Moore is under arrest.
The East Orange teen had been missing since October 14th, but was found safe last night in New York City. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor live outside the Essex County Prosecutor's Office with more for us. Alice.
Officials announced today that Jashya Moore ran away. When she was found last night, she made statements to police about her home life. So today, investigators questioned her mother, took her into custody, and charged her with child endangerment.
Child endangerment. The mom
Jashya Moore's mother, Jamie, had been pleading for her daughter's safe return, posting flyers, starting a GoFundMe page, organizing search parties, insisting she did not run away.
I feel like somebody may have her against her will. I love you. If you see this, I'm looking for you.
But the Essex County Prosecutor's Office says 14-year-old Jashya Moore did not want to be found. She ran away.
Obviously, this was an extremely resilient and resourceful young lady, and she decided that she wanted to be someplace other than where she had been, and she made it happen.
The teen was last seen at a couple of East Orange delis last month and had been at several locations in New Jersey, ultimately ending up at a Brooklyn shelter. She was found near the corner of West 111th Street and Lenox Avenue in Harlem after someone spotted her and called police. They say when asked, she initially denied her identity.
Where she was, she seemed to be more so at ease where she was.
Mother and daughter were not reunited. Authorities brought Jamie Moore in for questioning after Jashya made claims about her home life. The 14-year-old had previously been enrolled in the Irvington School District, but in September, her mother told them she would transfer her to East Orange. School officials say Jashya was never enrolled. They've now arrested 39-year-old Jamie Moore, charging her with endangering the welfare of a child. The charges include allegations of physical abuse and neglect. Both Jashya and her 3-year-old brother are in the custody of the New Jersey Division of Child Protection and Permanency. Earlier today, the East Orange mayor had a message
to our young people that at any time that we can be of some help and you need to cry out to someone, we are here for you.
Officials praised the spotlight placed on Jashya's case, which helped bring her home.
This is a perfect example for the potential to have positive outcomes when we come together and work as a whole community.
Well, now the community is hoping she gets the services she needs. The New Jersey Division of Children and Families says due to confidentiality rules, it cannot disclose whether or not there have been any prior investigations.
There you have it, y'all. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this one, to be really honest, because didn't the mother just kind of expose her own self? Like, if she really was, this is all alleged, right? If she really did do the things that she says that she's being charged with, she really did put herself out there like that. She really did expose herself like that. Well, I'm gonna stop talking. Breon, we have Breon in the house. She hasn't said anything yet. Hello.
Hi.
What are your thoughts on this? Breaking story?
Well, I'm glad she was found first and foremost. I'm kind of thinking, how severe was the neglect? What state did they find her 3-year-old brother in? What were some of the claims that she made about abuse? Because for police to go in and make an arrest, it had to have risen to such a severe level where it just wasn't child protection coming in and removing the children and then going through their interview process. Perhaps New Jersey does it different, but I really believe that it must be heinous enough if they arrested the mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of curious the details of what was alleged by Jashya.
Yeah, I'm wondering what allegations, what did she say, right? To what extent did she say? To what extent was the severity of the abuse, right? That would make the police instantly arrest Jamie for all these counts, right? Let's see those again. Hold on, this thing's moving fast. All right, 2 counts. Second degree endangering the welfare of a child, allegations of physical abuse and neglect, and also there was another part that was heard. I just didn't pause on it like I usually do, but she was supposed to be enrolled in another school, and she never was. So it makes you wonder what was going on in that household to the point where the girl, this young teenager, wasn't matriculating at some sort of school. Obviously, something's not right here. David.
And the only thing I found is from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office in New Jersey, are saying that the child, the baby, was removed due to allegations of physical abuse and also neglect. That's all they have in the court documents so far describing what happened. Like you said, the 3-year-old has been removed as well, but the specifics aren't there. It just says physical abuse and also neglect.
Right. Which could be anything. Also, real quick, I'm sorry, Brianna. It could also be a situation of maybe she was involved with the violence, with the DV that was happening with the alleged stepdad, with the alleged domestic violence that was happening, could have been happening, and she could have been either just standing there egging him on, or she was contributing with the beatings as well. That could be it too. You know, obviously, you got someone who is willing to go out of her way to leave wherever she was. You heard that I forgot what title that man was, but he came up and he said, "This is a very resilient and resourceful young woman. She did whatever she needed to do to get out of that situation. She went to a shelter in Manhattan, somewhere in a completely different state, left New Jersey. So she knew what she was doing."
Articles also report that she also cut off her braids and changed her appearance to be less recognized.
So she did everything she could. She did by any means necessary so that she can get out of harm's way. So that says something. That clearly says something about the mom, the household, and the stepdad. But it sucks that she wasn't able to, if she really was trying to get away, it sucks that she left the brother behind. But at the same time, like, if those allegations are true, let me just say that again. If those allegations are true, right? It sucks that the young boy was left behind. But by her leaving and her being found and her saying what she needed to say, she is now in the custody of, she is somewhere else. She's not in the custody of these two individuals anymore. And of course, all of this is alleged, but isn't that crazy though? It went from the mother being like, "I need to find my baby. Where's my baby?" to, "Oh no, you've been abusing and neglecting and doing terrible things to your daughter, and probably to the little boy too. You're about to get locked up, or you are locked up right now." And now she's gonna have to deal with whatever she has to deal with behind bars.
Like Brianna was saying, this girl does appear that she wanted to stay hidden for a long time. The reports from the people that were with or interviewed her and such are saying that she definitely wants to stay in hiding. Someone in chat asked where she might have been before that. Well, I volunteered a few times at these types of shelters. From what some cities, I will point this out first. Some cities have places specifically for teens. I've never worked at a place like that, but some shelters do help teens specifically, runaways and that. But either way, in a normal shelter, typically, if it's a child or if it's a parent with a child, they will get priority seats or priority beds. Everyone gets fed, but there's only so many beds. And so children and people with children always get the beds first, even if somebody already claimed that bed for the night. So that's probably how she was able to get into these shelters at such short notice and to get that help because of her age. And a lot of times, from what I can tell, the homeless shelters won't try to return these children to their parents because typically they just run away again and show back up at the shelter. Yeah. So that's a very strong possibility of what happened.
Yeah, like I said, it's just clearly she was desperate to get the hell out. She was desperate to get the hell away from that toxic environment that she was in, that violent an unsafe environment that she was in, to the point where, as Breon just said, cut off all her locks, try to do everything she could to not look like herself. She did not want to be found. That's how bad this situation was for her, allegedly, of course, right? So obviously we will find out. I'll be watching as time goes on, as this story develops. If there's more truths and more information that comes out, we will be covering it. But to me, this is just the strangest turn of events that has happened, right? We did talk about this. We did talk about something similar to this before, where there was the 15-year-old boy that called the cops, only to find out the cops show up. There's a decaying 9-year-old body in an apartment with 3 boys fending for themselves, all skin and bones, barely being able to eat. No furniture, no power. The parents, or the mother and the boyfriend, are living 15 minutes down the road, living their life like it's golden, eating fat and having a great time, while these kids are eating ramen noodles raw and fending for themselves, right? The neglect, the extreme neglect that those kids went through is beyond all of us. We, of course, it's been called the Houston House of Horrors, right? But now you look at something like this, and of course, it's a much smaller scale, but it could have grown into that. But she did what she needed to do to survive. She did what she needed to do to find safety. So thank God she did what she did, but thank God she got found, though, too, because now they can save that little boy. Because that little boy was left behind, and any other siblings that are involved in that house, any other siblings that are in that house. It could be a blended family. We don't know. So the fact that these kids were taken from their parents, and they're going to do a proper investigation into this family and into the mother, hopefully into that stepdad too. Let's be real. Hopefully these kids will stay out of harm's way for good, and nothing as catastrophic as the Houston House of Horrors could ever happen. So fingers crossed on that. But if things go down, we will be talking about it. I will let you guys know. We will let you guys know if anything is popping off. Now we got to jump into our next story, and then we got something lighter. We got much more lighter stories here coming up, but we got one last story, one last heavier story. So by all means, I see about close to 600 souls watching the show right now on all platforms. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up. And of course, do not forget to crush that subscribe button. We are this close to 50,000 subscribers, y'all. This close. I'm dead ass. This close. So please share, let people know about this show. That would really, really mean a lot. That is going to be a huge milestone when we get to 50,000 subscribers. So please continue to share, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and welcome to the Pascal Show. We got to jump into this next story, and it's one of our last things on the titles right here. But Jelani Day, we got to talk about Jelani Day. This past week has been insane with AstroWorld, but we need to talk about Jelani Day. Okay. Now, weeks ago, okay, real quick, before we go into that, all right. Jelani Day was a young man, aspiring doctor. He went to a dispensary during the day, and suddenly, I mean, this is obviously, I'm just very, very broad strokes here, guys. But went from going to a dispensary, doing some schoolwork at the college, getting some coffee, going to the dispensary in the afternoon, and going missing. His car was found in a bushel of trees with the license plates removed. His pants, or his shorts that he was wearing, were inside of the car. Later on, they found his body, because he had been missing for a little while. They found his body submerged in water by a river bend. Of course, we already know about the autopsy and how the description of what his body looked like, which is horrific. But as they have tried to rule out what was his cause of death. They say his cause of death was drowning. Now, I want to say something to you guys because this is a very important piece. This man was a collegiate athlete. He was a track runner. He was a swimmer. He swam competitively in high school. So this man could swim. Okay? They say that he died from allegedly died from drowning. Okay? I know I'm backtracking a little bit, okay? But I haven't gotten a chance to really cover this story in a while. So tell me, how does somebody who is a competitive swimmer, was on the swim team, right? How could that man drown if he knows how to tread water? So real quick, he goes by some herbs, right? He goes to Beyond Hello, gets himself a little smoky smoke, gets in the ride. He drives off of this parking lot terrain to park his car into, ever so nicely, into a bushel of trees. Says, you know what, F it, let me remove the license plates from my car. Then, sorry for this graphic description, but it's like, man, my balls are getting really hot. Takes off his pants, takes off his shorts, throws them into the car, and says, still shirt on, but just full commando, decides, oh, I want to go into the river real quick and swim. Oh, wait, I don't know how to swim anymore. And now he died from drowning. Does that make any sense to y'all? Breon?
No, it doesn't make any sense. But I did read in an article somewhere that it said that he had been with 2 women prior to his disappearance, and that those 2 women have lawyered up during his disappearance. I don't know how true that is. It was just mentioned in an article that I read about his phone being found. But I was a swimmer in high school, or junior high school. I'm a very strong swimmer, and I do find it very odd, unless he was high. Like that could be the only thing I could think of that could impact a person's ability. But I've done something as complicated as drift snorkeling without floats, and that's really hard for a lot of people who are not strong swimmers. So I do find it strange that a competitive swimmer drowned.
Yeah. So you're telling me, sorry, David, real quick. So you're telling me if I smoke weed, that's suddenly going to compel me to remove license plates, take off my pants, because suddenly, my naughty bits are overheating suddenly. So I need to give them some air. Then I'm going to go out into the river, swim, but suddenly not know how to swim because I'm so hot. Like, for me, it just doesn't work for me. It's not, the math ain't mathing. But David.
Yeah. This is definitely a weird one. I do think some sort of, I do think there's basically a murderer of some kind, or at least, basically a murderer of some kind. Because really, people don't go swimming in rivers. It's toxic for the most part. I'm not sure about this particular river, but I know if you fell in even the Cincinnati River, you should go to the doctor just because of how toxic it is. And for that reason, you don't see people swimming in rivers. So this is really strange. I wouldn't expect to see anyone swim in a river, let alone a professional of some kind. On top of that, you have to remember the fact that his vehicle was hidden in trees, not on a road, not on a trail, but actually inside of the forested area with the plate removed. He didn't probably do that himself. I don't see a reason why he would. It just doesn't make sense. This does not seem to be some sort of suicide, because that is excessively elaborate for a suicide without even leaving a note behind. That doesn't make sense to me. I do think there was some sort of foul actor in this one, or bad actor, I mean.
And then you're saying that, like, the Lady Justice just said something that it does surprise me, that, Maybe he was a swashbuckling son of a gun, right? Maybe he was running around throwing that wayward D to anybody. I mean, he's young. You never know. He's a young, aspiring to be a very successful, intelligent black man. Who's to say that maybe he is out here enjoying himself and throwing out that vitamin D to anyone, right? And these girls could have been very upset about that. That could be a possibility. Let's be real. That could be. I lean towards that more than this man drowning in a river when he is a competitive swimmer because he was high off of some weed. I can't, it just doesn't compute for me. David? And then we got to get to the piece that I want to get to. Go ahead, David.
So, I mean, I can't really swim that well. I can barely swim at all. But I mean, I still don't think he'd be in the river, but I did know somebody that was drunk, not high on weed. I don't think weed would affect you. I don't really know that. Like I said, I'm not a swimmer, but I did know somebody that was drunk and just disappeared into the ocean because they decided to go swimming while drunk and were never found again.
Right, but this is not in his system.
Right, and it's not the ocean either. I mean, there are still riptides in the river, but it's not the same thing. I do think it was, like I said, a bad actor that did something here. I just did want to point it out because I do know people that have died while intoxicated. And I don't think weed would do the same thing. But again, I'm not a swimmer, so I don't really know on that. But as far as that goes, anything harder than that, we know that he probably smoked weed because he was buying some. But I don't think there's any indication that he was doing harder drugs. He looks clean. He's dressed well. His parents haven't mentioned it.
Toxicology said that all he had in his system, here it is, was weed and tobacco. That's all he had in his system. So in other words, he rolled himself a fat ass blunt and smoked it. That's literally it. Or maybe he rolled a spliff. We don't know. And a spliff is when you mix a little bit of weed and tobacco into a joint type thing. Very Jamaican. Okay. Now he could have done that too, right? A little bit of nicotine, a little bit of THC, whatever. Could have been that too, but nah. It's just not. I ain't riding with it, right? We've all had, we've all been a little, buzzed, a little drunk or something like that. Sure, but when it comes to weed, I don't know. And it's something that you do. I hear about people smoking weed and running miles. I hear stories about people smoking weed and working out, doing heavy lifting, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's just like, where would this weed make him go on autopilot? Meaning like he's out of his own body, like he blacks out, right? Now, there are stories about people getting so drunk that they black out and they don't remember anything that they do, right? Weed can do the same thing where you just black out, go on autopilot, take off license plates, take off your shorts, throw them in the car, and then just jump into a river. I don't know. Just seems a little strange to me, right?
It's too complicated for somebody that's that high on weed.
See what I'm saying? Like that exactly. You're sitting there thinking about the screwdriver and the license plate, and thinking about the origins of license plates and screwdrivers. Wow, the science of the thing but like, wow, dude, whoa. You turn into Keanu Reeves up in this piece, okay? You're just like, whoa, the entire time. You're not going, man, I need to take stuff off, throw this thing, take off my pants because my balls are hot, and then jump into a river. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, the math ain't mathing. Now, here's the part that I need to get to, okay? Because this is the part that's very strange. Jelani Day's cell phone has been recovered. Mm-hmm. We have got to look at the video, y'all. This is crazy. Let's take a look.
Newsy Tonight is continuing to follow the disappearance and death investigation of graduate student Jelani Day. Tonight, a major development in the case has Jelani's family and friends hopeful for new information and somewhat skeptical of police. It's our Newsy Tonight focus this evening. First, let me just get you caught up where we are. Jelani, an Alabama A&M graduate and an Illinois State University grad student, was last seen at Beyond Hello Cannabis Dispensary in Bloomington, Illinois, August 24th. His vehicle was found just 2 days later in a wooded area in Peru, Illinois, 16 miles away. On September 4th, an unidentified body was found.
Hey, Lady Justice, can you mute your microphone? Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of reverb. Awesome, thank you.
In the river in LaSalle County, Illinois, it was determined to be Jelani on September 23rd. On October 26th, police would tell the public Jelani's cause of death was drowning. No signs of homicide. Throughout this investigation, Jelani's cell phone has been missing, along with any clues it might hold. Now, his mother says it's been found. It's in police custody. And Jelani's family wants a say in the upcoming process. Someone who's been leading the fight, pushing for answers surrounding Jelani's disappearance and death, is his mother, Carmen Bolden-Day, and she joins us again tonight. Carmen, since we began talking a few months ago at this point, a big question always lingered in our conversations. Where is Jelani's cell phone? What clues could it hold? And now you tell us the Bloomington, Illinois police have it?
Yes, the Bloomington police have it in their possession. And I'm just wondering why they have it in their possession.
Can you explain how it came to be in their custody? Because you wrote on Facebook about this, that apparently a guy says his friend or acquaintance found it on the side of the road, turned it in at Walmart. They took it to police. It's this really convoluted chain of custody.
Well, from what I understand, the gentleman, he was going down the interstate and a mattress fell off the back of his truck. He got off the truck, he stopped his truck to secure the mattress back on the truck. He found a phone. He said that the phone had been shattered. He ended up taking it to a kiosk at a Walmart because he said that the phone didn't work.
Okay, real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, doesn't this seem a little weird? Like the coincidence of pulling over, like the mattress falling off or about to slide off of a truck. Dude pulls over at the exact location where this cell phone, Jelani Day's cell phone, is, to tighten the mattress back up. But he looks down at the ground and he's like, what in the same hell? There's a cell phone on the ground. Let me pick it up really quick. Doesn't that seem a little weird? I want to continue, but weird, right?
Cars, I mean, if cars are driving by on that road where the phone is, at that speed, they would just blow it off the road. It seems like it was set there to me. I mean, even if he dropped it or if he threw it, it's going to be hidden. I mean, he's been gone a while. He's been gone a minute. Right. So that phone is going to be not. I don't see how you'd find it on the road. It doesn't. No.
See
it
what
would
I'm
be
saying?
in the dirt or something like that by now.
See what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Let's continue.
Took it to a kiosk at Walmart. He received $80 for the phone.
So he went in and put it in and tried to make money, and he made money off that phone. So he found it on the side of the road and then sold it for $80.
He did this on October 17th. Today is November the 11th.
Wait a second. Huh?
I found out about the phone, that the phone had been found and had been identified as Jelani's phone on early this morning, maybe about 1 or 2 o'clock this morning. However, the young man had let me know that he got questioned 2 days ago. So the police have been aware of this. They've known about the phone. They've not made me aware. According to Peru and Bloomington, the FBI is assisting and providing resources. When I contacted them today, they told me that they didn't tell me about the phone because they wanted to be sure. They then told me that they were going to look into Jelani's phone to see what was on there. I questioned why they would go through the phone, and they instructed, and she said to me, Carmen, if you don't want us to go through the phone, let me know now and we'll turn it over to the FBI. And I told her that's what I prefer for her to do. So if they can turn it over to the FBI and not mess with it, because at this point, I need the FBI involved. I need them to not provide oversight, not to be engaged, but to take over this case.
Okay. Real quick. They found it on October 17th. That's what she said. October. Today's the 15th. This video was put up about 4 days ago. Okay. So you're telling me for 3 weeks she didn't know anything until so 3 weeks to the day of this taping of this video, of this interview, she knew nothing about this cell phone. But 50 seemed to have known about the cell phone for at least a little bit. Now she's sitting here going, no, I want FBI involved. I don't want local authorities to touch the phone. I'm sorry to say this to Carmen right now, Carmen Bolden Day. They've been touching that phone already. If it's been in the possession of 50 since the 19th of October, let's just say, let's give them a few days. They have messed with that phone. They have already gone through it. They have done whatever they need to do with that cell phone. Real talk. Damage is done. But isn't that a fairly strange that this was found a month ago, this cell phone? He's been missing for a while up until the phone was found. And this is now being brought in as evidence. This is now being brought in now, or, at least 4 days ago when they did this interview. So that November 11th is when they're looking into this stuff. Breon.
So I think it's suspect.
Well, it's sus.
Yeah. And I just think it's odd. I mean, I've seen broken phones along like the sidewalk or something before. I don't think to pick them up and collect them for money. They're just broken. They're trash cell phones for a reason. So I just find it strange. Like, what are the odds? Someone's mattress flies off, or they need to secure it, or whatever it is. They look down, there's a phone, and it happens to be a phone from a crime. Of a victim of a crime. I don't know. And the fact that the police didn't notify the family that the phone was found and that, they were, looking for evidence on it. It seems suspect. And it makes me even wonder, is there a cover up going on?
I really do think that there's there's got to be. I mean, well, we've already talked about this before. I know that there have bbeen stories about the organs, not being there, but of course those things have been debunked. Even the mother has come out and said no, like there was an autopsy that was done beforehand, so on and so forth. But at the same time, does not remove the thought of there's some foul play going on. Some foul play is afoot up in this piece when it comes to Jelani Day, because here it is. They rule out everything under the sun and say that this man drowned. That this man drowned. That he, like I've said a million times in this conversation, drove his car into a bushel of trees, removed license plates, took off his own shorts, jumped into a river, and died. How does that even work? And they just said, "Well, yep, he's drowned. He drowned." But
also weren't body parts during the autopsy, weren't the oddest body parts removed or something, like part of his jaw or something like that was removed? So there was a like really strange aspects to his autopsy that seemed unnatural, that wouldn't have occurred in the water. So yeah, I don't know, something's heinous is going on, and it just seems like there's a cover up for something. And it makes me wonder, like, how much do the police no, or was there someone involved from the police? Because it doesn't make sense to me that the police wouldn't want to get to the bottom of something if they didn't already know or they weren't trying to protect something.
Right.
That's just now me being suspicious. So
kind of strange, right? David.
Yeah. I mean, I get the impression that the police are already deciding not to give this case its full diligence.
No.
I do not see a reason, given the evidence, to think that he was swimming on his own, nor do I think there is a reason to believe. I mean, it just doesn't. The whole situation doesn't work with the suicide in any way whatsoever. As far as we've seen suicides go and how they tend to be committed, it just doesn't even remotely check with that. So, like I said, I think there's a foul actor here, just because this does not seem at all to be what a suicide would be, and that only leaves either an accident or a murder at this case. And I kind of am ruling out the accident because of that vehicle and where it was, and the very fact that he is a strong swimmer, but he's in the river, and that doesn't add up for a strong swimmer, I don't think. So I do think there's some sort of bad actor. Maybe there's two women, but that could just be a scapegoat or a red herring or something. This is why they need proper investigators to really look into this case instead of deciding that there's nothing to look into.
Yeah, I just like I said, it's just there needs to be like you just said. I agree. They need to go, like Carmen Bolden Day and her entire family, the Jelani Day family, needs to just go and hire private investigators and their own law enforcement, basically for hire, to do their due diligence and do the research and find out what the heck is going on here, rather than it being what it is right now, because they're not getting the answers and the results that they're looking for right now at all, right? When it comes to this cell phone, the fact that they're even sitting here saying, no, we don't want local enforcement to use it, to have it. We want FBI. We don't want them touching it at all. Says a lot. That they can't even trust their own local law enforcement because they feel like they might tamper with that as well. Says a lot about what's going on here. And it's sad, y'all. It's really, really sad. But David, I know you have to hop off. I appreciate you coming on, man, and have a safe drive.
Yeah, well, it's a good show. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, man. Peace.
Peace.
So we got to go into our next story, and it's our last story of the day, and it's a left turn. Brianna, you are not ready for this. You are not ready for this. Oh, my Lord. Well, you know, I was going to talk about the baby, but I had David have that kind of ready, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to maybe save that for a later time. But there is a video that has been going viral right now. It's been shared like crazy, showing a vocalist by the name of Sophia Urista. Like I said, you came in at the right time, Brianna. This woman is found. This vocalist is on stage peeing on a fan's face in front of thousands of people. Golden brown. Okay. So I got to show a little. I'm not showing the whole video, y'all. Okay. But this is on YouTube. And it's not for educational reasons, y'all. So there's a video. I can't play the music, unfortunately, and I can't show the whole thing. But you see it from beginning to end, a full 1 minute long clip of this woman dropping trowel and dropping some seriously tangy ass lemonade all over a man's face. We're only going to show you up to the point, and then that's it. I can't show you the whole thing, but here it is. And I can't play the music because obviously they're playing Bullet in the Head or something like that. And I'm going to stop there. That's all I can go. That's all I can do. 14 seconds, because obviously we got to keep it somewhat classy on this channel. Straight up. Point and poise. I'm so sorry. But yes, she is literally giving this man a golden shower. Yes. Full on. In the face. She hobbles over after she's dropped trowel. Okay. Singing in the song. And then urinates on this man's face. This is a full on viral video going crazy right now. I mean, to think that we already saw, we've been dealing with people getting crushed to death, fighting for their lives within an inch of their life. And then 2 seconds later, we see a woman walking over a fan's head. He also, by the way, he has a GoPro suction cupped to the top of his forehead just for this angle while she's urinating on this man's face. This happened this weekend. This happened this weekend, y'all. Breon, what thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Straight up.
Oh, that is just disgusting.
I can't even show it. Because it is fairly, you know what I mean? It gets a little X-rated.
I just watched it on another. I'm like, that's gross. And it's not even like a little bit. I mean, it's like it's like a waterfall just all over this man's face.
He was chasing those waterfalls though. Like TLC up in this piece. Well, actually, it's the opposite of TLC. They say don't go chasing waterfalls. Okay. But she straight up just skadoosh all over this man's face, and he loved every minute of it.
I mean, but who does this in front of thousands of...
Someone who wants to make headlines? Someone who's trying to clout chase, maybe? I mean, what are the chances of this actually being choreographed, like planned? Because here's the thing. He literally does have a GoPro suction cup to the top of his head. What are the chances of her actually going, hey, man, I'm about to do this song, Bullet in the Head, or whatever the name of the song is. It's a Rage Against the Machine song, right? And the group is called Brass Against, right? So they do a lot of cover songs and stuff, and it's all brass, right? Brass instruments and stuff. And she's obviously the lead singer of it. What if she said, hey, man, I want you to jump up here. You're going to put the GoPro so you have another angle, and I'm going to urinate on your face. And you're going to love it. What are the chances?
I don't even know.
Now, here's the thing, though. If sex was changed, if this was a man urinating on a girl's face, would this be online right now? Would it?
No, it wouldn't.
Like, real talk, would it be online? Would it be okay for it to be online? It would instantly be pornographic. I said it.
Yeah, that's why I'm shocked that it's still up on.
It is still up
on YouTube, and I was actually wondering, was this an 18+ crowd?
That's a very good question. I doubt it.
And if it wasn't, could she get in trouble for indecent exposure? I mean, I hope that venue doesn't invite her back. That's just gross.
They were cool with it. And the funny thing is when you watch the rest of the video, one, she's trying not to hit her pants. That's hilarious. The other part is the band is just losing it because they're just like, I cannot believe she just did what she just did, right? And I mean, they're literally like looking at the dude and like, I'm sorry, the bandmates. If you guys go and check out the video, the look on the bandmates' faces are priceless because they're just like, they're still playing, but they're like, holy crap! Did she just pee on a dude's face? And oh yes, she did. Her name is Sophia Urista, and she has a band called Brass Against, and it's literally like they do rock songs, but they do brass versions of it. So it's like almost like, I don't even know how to. There's no like, I don't really have any examples, right? But she straight up did that, and some people will sit there and go, "Yeah, that's rock and roll, man. That's just punk rock." But to me, Sophia Urethra. But in my mind, I'm going, okay, if this was a man doing this, would this be considered okay? But because it's a woman doing it to a man, it's okay.
No,
I
it's
feel
not
like it
okay.
would have been banned on YouTube. Like we would not see that. Obviously, you don't see her genitals, you don't see anything of that. So what if he was to, do it, but right? We don't see it, right? We don't see the naughty bits. Would this be okay? No. So why is this up here? And then, this is, I'm looking at the video, and I mean, there's like, you can't really see anybody else. It's just a tight shot on just her. But the thing is like, where in any world did someone think that would be a good idea to do in front of people? Like, whatever you do behind closed doors, y'all, like, do you know what I'm saying? If you into those golden showers, hey, if you like that tangy lemonade, hey, that's on you. All right, that is all on you. I understand some of us need to sanitize, disinfect areas of the face, you know what I'm saying? But there's things like rubbing alcohol that you can use and the sort, you know what I mean? You don't need somebody to pee on your damn face, okay? But doing it in public though, in front of possibly children, because I'm sure it was not a 18 plus show. I guarantee you it was not. There's no way. So there were probably little kids there. See, mommy, what are you doing? Go ahead.
It said it was the Rockville Festival.
Ooh, Rockville Festival.
Yeah. And also there's the band made a statement. They apologized. And it said Sophia got carried away. That's not something that the rest of us expected, and it's not something you'll see again at our shows. Thanks for bringing it last night, Daytona.
Okay. They say, like, I'm looking at the website for Rockville, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're having bands like Kiss, Korn, Guns N' Roses, Stone Temple Pilots, Slipknot, Cypress Hill. I mean, it's all types of different things. Metallica, Rob Zombie. I'm just no Ice 9 Kills. I don't know what that is. But Lamb of God, Disturbed, The Offspring, Stained, Atreyu. I said Leonard Skinner, right? Leonard Skinner. If I already repeated myself, my bad. But like, these are all kind of like classics, I guess, old school, not new bands, right? So in my mind, I feel like they would have been like, "Oh yeah, hey son, let's go check out Metallica for a night. They're performing at this Rockville festival. No big deal. Let's go, son." Like, imagine an Ezra, a 9-year-old kid, going in, kicking it with his daddy or with his family, and this woman walks over, squats hovers her hoo-ha over a man's face and just urinates. Would you want your children to see something like that live before you go and see Metallica? But what's going to happen is everybody, like, no matter what, there are going to be people who are going to go, well, man, that's crazy. That's rock and roll. Who is this? And their album sales are going to go up. Because it's not like she killed anybody. It's not like she did anything crazy. Like putting somebody in harm's way. She just peed on somebody. Which I feel like is the most obscene thing you can think of. Aside from defecating. That's crazy.
And I just found it is an all ages event too. It's just
I'm telling you, they're going, Mommy, what is she doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Going, oh, wow, this band is awesome. What is she doing? So there were kids there. You see what I'm saying? Like, if this was somebody else, would this be okay? This was a man, would this be okay? Probably not. Most definitely not.
Right.
That man would have been canceled. But because women are hypersexualized in this society, this will be looked at, and we'll we'll have the clutch my pearls moment, and then we'll keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Our album sales will keep going up. People will go look her up and see what the story is, because they'll be like, but she still look good though. Instead of, well, look at the obscene act that she did, not only in front of just people, because no one needs to see no one needs to see that, but also children are seeing that as well. Children. Yeah. I think that when it comes to anything from now on, she ain't going to be doing anything that is all ages. I'll tell you that. They're going to be like, nope. All these venues are going to sit there and go, well, if you come in, it's 18 plus. Period. We can't get sued. We're going to say, Bree?
I was just going to say, but another thing that's disturbing is the lack of accountability. Oh, she got carried away. No, she made a decision to pee on somebody's face in public in front of thousands of fans. Perhaps a good portion of them were minors.
Yeah,
I don't understand how you get carried away unless you're high as hell. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
I mean, drunk people can get carried away. Maybe she had a bunch of drinks. Like, I don't know. But that, to me, there's no accountability on that at all. You don't just get carried away. You made a choice.
Yep. You know what I find really, really funny is that now in her contract clause, it's going to say, and please don't urinate on anybody in public. Literally, it's going to be in her contracts from now on. Please don't urinate on a man's face in public. There are children here. There are children. Like they're gonna have to give her just a heads up. This is an all ages show, so please don't do any golden showers today. It'd be greatly appreciated. Enjoy the show. Like, carried away my ass. It's like, no, we should know better. This shouldn't have happened. She done mucked up, but it's the band that's saying something, and it's not her. So she's hiding behind the whole band instead of Sophia going out and saying, hey, I done mucked up. Yes, I got carried away, but I promise you this will never happen again. My apologies to any fans and children that saw this ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
But she's hiding behind her band, and her band is not her. Her band did not walk over and pee on that man's face in front of thousands of people. It was only her. It was her bladder, and it was her vagina that was hovering over that dude's face. Real talk.
Yep, and the band didn't expect it, so
no, they did not. They like I said, they're running around like, oh my god, like you know, like they, you know, you saw the video. I can't show the whole video, unfortunately, because it's, I like my channel and I don't want to get it taken down because of showing some woman peeing on another man's face. But on some real stuff, in the video, they're like running away, like, oh my god, she's doing, oh my god, bruh, she's peeing on the dude's face, yo. Like it's shock. They're still playing the music, but she's just going in. Like, is she really gonna do what she? Oh my god, she's doing. Oh my god, she's doing it. That's what's happening. But they can't really stop her from doing what she's doing, in a way.
I mean, well, they could have.
I mean, they could have. They could have tackled her down and said, "The hell's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
They were children." You know what I mean? He could have done that, but at the same time, nah. But she needs to come out with a public apology, not in black and white. Actually, act like she's sincere and apologize. And I'm sure everybody will be fine with it. But if it was a dude, I keep saying it, but I'm gonna say it. If it was a dude, the dude would have been canceled so hard. We're all laughing at it. Like, oh yeah, a girl peeing on a dude's face. But if it was a dude peeing on a girl's face, it would have been rap, son. Full on rap. Just saying. Well, you think you've seen everything, and then you see something like that. You're like seriously. I've seen a lot of things, and then in a lot of videos, and we've experienced a lot of them on this show. And then all of a sudden, someone always just ups the ante. Because when I saw the video, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way she's gonna do." She really is doing. Oh, wow, she's doing that. Wow. And it's not even for me. I'm not like, oh my god. I'm so desensitized now because I've seen so many ridiculous videos nowadays. I'm just like, okay. Like, it's funny. I see like this random left turn, but it's like Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian together, right? I'm just like, yeah. And I don't care because nothing can top anything anymore. Everything is I'm so desensitized. Like, I mean, Pete Davidson is dating arguably one of the, what the world considers one of the most beautiful women in the world. Okay. And a woman on stage urinated on a man in front of thousands of people, including children. Hey. What else is new?
That is sad that nothing can really shock us.
Not really. Now it's just laughable, right?
Right.
Now it's just like, yo, ha. Oh my gosh, we're so desensitized because we've seen so many terrible, terrible things. BX Beefy, exactly. Jim Morrison had a police on stage ready and waiting for him to act out. That's actually true too. Because he exposed himself. He exposed his genitals on stage at one time and was arrested for indecent exposure while doing a show. And he pretty much got canceled after that. That's when people started not messing with Jim Morrison of the Doors because he was acting crazy. He was acting nutty. And he was just basically doing anything and everything on stage because he just didn't give a damn anymore. Right? Drugs are a hell of a drugs, y'all. So for me, I'm like, and now we live in this time where it's like we got people who are getting crushed to death, dying, all this stuff. It's like I'm not surprised about a girl urinating on a dude's face. It's funny, but I'm just like, all right. Like I said, just like I'm not surprised that maybe somebody who is not aesthetically good looking, Pete Davidson, is smashing one of the, is allegedly falling in love with one of the world's most beautiful women in the world. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Kim Kardashian. Some people are sitting there saying that she's one of the most beautiful people in the world. That's the case, then hey, you're giving us regular looking dudes. Pete Davidson is giving us a chance. That's all he's saying, doing. In other words, we just have to be really, really fun. Actually, it's funny. I'm asking for a friend. Is he funny? I ain't trying to throw no shade at Pete Davidson, but I'm just saying, is he funny?
To me, he's not memorable, but that's just me.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see how he's funny. But at the same time, shoot, Kim Kardashian is smashing Ariana Grande's sloppy seconds. Think about that. I'm sorry. It's like, what world are we in, an alternate universe? Where are we at? Women are peeing on men's faces on stage, and Kim Kardashian is smashing Ariana Grande's sloppy seconds. What world are we living in? Can you explain this to me, Bree? See, you got nothing too. Exactly. What world are we living in? Nurse said he got the magic D. No, he does not. No, he does not. Stop lying. I don't know what it is. He must be a really nice guy. Okay, I'm done. But like I said, nothing shocks me anymore. It's just kind of like a, okay. There it is. Pete Davidson is smashing a Kardashian, and they're apparently falling in love. And you got, female performers peeing on dudes' faces in front of thousands of people, including children. Welcome to a Monday on the Pascal Show.
I don't, when I think about them, it always seems like the Kardashians are always rebranding. Like I feel like you fall in love with who you fall in love with, but I just find it interesting with Courtney's man, and then now Kim has gone in a different direction, but it seems like in a similar direction, and I find that interesting.
With that whole thing, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't keep up with those Kardashians. See what I did there? I can't keep up with them because every minute there's some new thing that they're after. I mean, Kim Kardashian was connected with Van Jones for a minute there, and she was all about all about law and trying to take care of things and trying to free people who have been incarcerated, so on and so forth. Then she goes to SNL, does actually, I'll give her this. Her opening monologue was fire. I will give her that. It was fire. But that does not automatically mean, okay, let me go smash Pete Davidson. But at the same time, I don't know what it is. I mean, there are plenty of not good-looking dudes that are nice guys that can throw out a few decent one-liners that probably have, large and in charge big dick energy, okay, that they could probably go and date all they want. But Pete Davidson, though? Okay. Sure. It must be the BDE. Big dick energy, I guess. It must be. You know what I mean?
Could be.
It must be. But, like I said, we have been in a weird world. Things are weird right now. We are just in a weird time. and we are with it. We are just totally with it. Like, he is like one of those guys he's open about his depression. He's open about his all those, like the medication that he's on, all that stuff. Like I said, for those who are introverted or deal with any type of mental health issues and all that, he is giving everyone hope. Just be semi-funny and have a nice sense of humor, like, and be nice, and just carry around that BDE, and you'll be fine. Forget what you look like. Just make sure that big dick energy's there. You'll be fine. You don't even need to be funny. She's just going to laugh because you got that big dick energy. That's it. BDE. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. But like I said, that's one piece. Pete Davidson is still something I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. Not trying to throw any shade towards him. I just don't get why he is who he is. There are plenty of other. Well, that's the other thing. Maybe SNL is so bad that he's the only one that really stands out of that group. But SNL is not that funny anymore. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And he's the breakout star right now. Like I said, nothing shocks me anymore. I can be confused. I could not get it. You know what I'm saying? But nothing shocks me anymore. It's like, okay, that's what people are really all crazy about. Let's see him run. Let's see him do a couple movies by himself, like Adam Sandler type stuff. You know what I mean? Let's see how he does. I don't think he's going to do very well. Sorry. Seen his stand-up. It's not funny to me. But who am I to judge? I don't do stand-up. I don't. I've always wanted to try it, but it's just not my thing. So, hey, if we out here, Kim Kardashian's smashing Pete Davidson, then yeah, of course there's going to be a woman that pees on a man's face in front of him. Of course. And like I said, it does not shock me. But anyway, guys, that is the show for today. Man, oh man. I want to say thank you to David for being on. Breon, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate you coming on. And hopefully we'll have you more throughout the week as well. That'd be great to have you back on. So yay. Happy to have you back on over the week.
Yep, I'm happy to be back on too.
Good. I was about to say, you better say that. Shoot. If you said, this is the worst time of my life, I'm like, damn, okay, then you should have said this after the show. We could talk about this after the show. Live? You did this live? Bruh. Damn. Anyway, again, thank you again. And your doggy is now finally going, oh, the show's almost over. She must be really excited.
She keeps throwing the ball off of the bed and then jumping down to get it, jumping up and then throwing it off the bed again.
Those dogs and their ADD, you know what I mean? The way they entertain themselves is amazing. But anyway, guys, be sure to hit that like button down below. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. Send those likes all the way up before you leave. That would really, really mean a lot. We covered a lot today. And of course, if there's anything popping off, I will definitely be covering it as time goes on. Please go follow me on Instagram, The Pascal Show, one word, and also follow me on Twitter. I've been posting a lot of things on Twitter a lot too. So please go hit and follow me on Twitter, The Pascal Show, one word as well. All right. Don't forget to support if you can. Hit that join button or join my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. That'll be really appreciated. And we got to get going. Okay, guys? Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And we will see you guys very, very soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
You're going to perform tonight. I can't make this interview boring because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. For more information, call us now.
the Fur and Leather Center, providing the highest of fur and leather goods.